Well, hey everybody, it's your good buddy 650 here. Welcome home to the channel. Today I'm finally going to ride the Honda Africa Twin 1100 and see how it compares to my beautiful R1250 GS Adventure machine. But before I can do that, I want to invite you all to attend the BMW Centennial, a symphony of cylinders, which is going to be at the Crawford Auto Aviation Museum, September 9th and 10th. It's going to be an epic event filled with beautiful vintage and modern motorcycles, and there's even going to be a BMW stunt rider there performing stunts for your viewing pleasure. Information on this outstanding event is the first link in the description of this video. So we get a sneak peek at a couple of the motorcycles that are going to be at the event. Pam,
hi.
Hey, what is this beautiful motorcycle?
So this is a 1961 R27. It is a 250cc single. This bike was originally sold here at the dealership back in the 60s and had one owner since new.
Wow.
And then when he passed away, my dad actually purchased it back and got it back up and running. So it's technically only had like one or two owners since day one and was originally sold here.
So I'm going to start off by riding the Honda Africa Twin. Before I can do that, Joe, you got to tell me a little bit about this machine.
Sure, what's going on, Eve?
Hey, buddy.
So here we have a current generation Africa Twin 1100. Just like its counterpart in BMW, there's two models. A standard model, we call it, and an adventure model. Just like on the BMW, the adventure is a taller suspension, which is electronic. This one is not, and bigger fuel tank and some other things.
Okay.
So they offer the Honda Africa Twin in two types of transmissions, manual and DCT, or dual clutch, basically automatic.
Yeah.
This model here you're going to be riding today is a dual clutch transmission.
Okay.
So it does have a manual mode, basically paddle shifting. You can up and down shift via the handle switches here. Minus for downshift, and on the front side there's a plus button for upshifting in manual mode.
Okay.
So, like I said before, this bike doesn't have electronic suspension. It does have a couple user modes that you can adjust power and engine braking and stuff like that. It has wheelie control, gravel mode, which is like enduro mode on BMW's world. And it's got a really nice display, 6.5-inch TFT, just like BMW. It is touch, actually.
Oh, nice.
on the Honda. It does take a second for it to power up. Another awesome feature that Honda incorporated was Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Oh, okay.
So you can plug right in and get full maps. There's a USB port right here.
Oh, nice.
Be easy access for if you have like a handlebar mount, phone holder, or anything. Like I said, this TFT display is touch. Let's see if we can get over to a menu here. Oops. So, full touch display, which is nice. We're waiting for BMW to do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully shortly. And then there's an array of Bluetooth for your phone, menu options, and then Apple CarPlay here.
Okay.
So, that's
Cool.
pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm ready to ride this thing. All right, so now I have to remember everything that Joe told me about this machine. I believe he has me set up in the proper mode that has the most power, which is what I want for this brief ride. Just want to get a feel for this thing. I will tell you, man, I instantly went to grab a clutch. That's going to take some getting used to. Okay. So, as it says there, it's in neutral. I like how it revs, I'll tell you that so far. Mirrors, pretty nice. Nice angle to them. Nice, design. Okay. So, I'm going to put it in drive. So now it's in drive. I'm going to start this ride out by just testing out the automatic nature of this bike. And then I'll put it into manual. Here we go. Wow. It doesn't quite feel like a scooter because scooters don't have gears or anything. I can actually feel the gear changes, but it's going to take me a little while to get used to not having a clutch. I will say that I like the way this bike feels. I like the seating position. I'm feeling more into the bike as opposed to the GS where you're kind of like up on the machine. You can still stand on this bike, that's great. And we'll see how it corners. Alright, here's the problem. I'm giving it full throttle, and it took a little bit for it to kick itself down into the proper gear to let me take off. I'm going to try that again. Oh man, acceleration's quite lackluster indeed, particularly in the drive mode, the automatic mode. Let's see if this windscreen's adjustable. I don't see any sort of adjustments. And we left the USB thingy unplugged. There we go. That's all plugged in. So now I'm cruising on the highway, which honestly is where I use my GS the majority of the time. I took it off-road once. I'll never do it again. For me, my GS is the ultimate touring, cruising, long-distance motorcycle. So, how does this thing feel? It feels good. I like the gauges. I love the huge display. It's 6.5 inches, as Joe mentioned, but the speedometer is really, really big. As you can see there, it clearly displays your speed in a very large format. I like that. Well, it's got good handling, that's for sure. So obviously this bike weighs a lot less. So here I go, trying to take off again, and it has to think about it. But this bike is a lot lighter than the GS, so you know, it's a lot more flickable. But having said that, it's a very windy day here in filthy Cleveland, and I am being blown around quite a bit on this machine. I guess accelerating once you're cruising isn't too bad once you get used to it. But again, if you do have an automatic motorcycle that you can click down a couple gears and get instant takeoff, this is a bit different. You know, giving this bike full throttle and having to wait a few moments for it to accelerate, it's interesting. Let's test out the cruise control. We'll fire it up. And let's set. So we have cruise control set. I wonder if it works if you change gears. I'm going to try to click up the 6th gear, and when you do that, it deactivates cruise control. So that's sort of a bummer. I would have liked for cruise control to have continued working when I changed gears. And if I downshift, cruise control is deactivated. All right. Not a big deal, but some of the other competitor bikes do have that feature where cruise control will continue to work if you engage the quick shift or auto blip. I'm back in automatic mode, but I'm in sport, and the bike is very nice indeed. I love the paint scheme on this bike. The metallic colors, really nice. Also love the LED turn signals, and all of the headlights are LED. I do love the touchscreen feature for the 6.5 display. The seating position is nice too, once you get used to it, sitting into the bike instead of more up top. Not a bad bike. A little bit underpowered, I mean, from what I'm used to riding. But it is a lightweight machine. Kind of has a weird place that it fits in between all of these adventure motorcycles, right? So it's not up there with the Tiger 1200 or the R1250 GS Adventure. Certainly not anywhere near the Multistrada V4. Definitely can't come anywhere near the KTM 1290 Super Duke Adventure. But it's a unique bike, I will say that. For whatever place that it does fit in. My final take on the Africa Twin, it's not a bad bike, but it is definitely no comparison to the R1250 GS Adventure, okay guys? Doesn't make the power that the R1250 makes. The suspension's not as nice. It's a lighter bike, so you kind of get blown around on the highway more on this machine. The brakes, I didn't mention that in the vlog, but the brakes aren't quite as good as the Adventure, the R1250 GS Adventure braking system. So I don't know. If you're looking for something a little bit different, a lighter bike, something with an automatic transmission, if that's what you want, then this is the bike for you. But I'm going to hop on my R1250 GS Adventure, and we're going to talk about that machine for a little bit. There's no substitute for a motorcycle that has actual gears, okay? Because this thing is awesome. Not the same as riding that Africa Twin with its dual clutch with the finger shifters. This thing is much better. Wow. And everything about this bike is just, it feels a lot more premium than the Africa Twin, folks. The seat, it's more plush. You're able to adjust your windscreen with that lever. Little things like turn signal switch, it's where it's supposed to be, you know? The two bikes are just really, really different. And I think that if you spend more time with the Africa Twin, and perhaps if you got more used to it, you might be able to live with it, but I don't know. The power and the sound of this machine is no comparison. Oh wow. I don't know. I'm trying to put it into words. How you feel, I mean how I feel about these two bikes. I mean, this bike just does something to me. It speaks to me, right? There's that sound. I mean, granted, this does have an Akrapovic exhaust on it, full titanium. It does have Bryn tuning velocity stacks, so it's not stock by any way, but I just don't think that if you were to modify the Africa Twin to the point of where this bike is, that it would make that much of a difference. The Africa Twin just feels like it does not have a soul. It does not have a being, if you know what I mean. And that's not what you want on a motorcycle. There is a huge disconnect that I felt when riding the Africa Twin. So dual clutch transmissions and automatic transmissions, they might be fine for automobiles and trucks, but on a motorcycle, you want that engagement. You want to be able to select your own gear. And that's a big part of why this bike is superior to the Africa Twin. And then you take the gauges on the Africa Twin. Yes, the 6.5-inch touchscreen TFT was nice, but this one is a very clean display. And when you have the BMW navigation system on it, it's very nice too. But just like the Africa Twin, when you have cruise control engaged on this bike and you want to downshift, it deactivates the cruise control. That's something that I hope changes for the newly revised R1300 that should be coming out soon. The GS offers heated grips and heated seat. I'm not sure if the Africa Twin offers a heated seat or not, but those are good things to have on these type of motorcycles.